Hi guys, it's Book Review Saturday with Fixie Gateway Security, and today we'll be doing a book review series on cloud penetration testing. So this book is a very good book that I have taken my time to read through and also make my judgments based on the content of this book. The essence of the book review series is to ensure that whatever book we list on our online store are books that we have read, and we believe that these books will be able to help cybersecurity professionals in learning about the profession. This book also, we don't just randomly list books on our online store. Of course, we have various books we've read, but if we discover that these books that we have read would not be of any benefits in terms of impactful knowledge on a very high scale, we do not review these books and we do not list them in our online store, because in as much as we're passionate about making profit and income, we are more interested in passing or impacting knowledge that users would be able to use for a lifetime, not just in terms of learning, but also with the informations they've discovered from reading these various books that we have reviewed and which we have listed in our online store. They'll be able to also include these informations in preparing their resumes for those who are looking for jobs, and for those who are into content writing or social media blogging. They'll be able to have something important or something very more interesting to write about, which of course will capture their various audience to, follow them on these various social medias and also interact with them. So on today's book review, we'll be talking about cloud penetration testing for red teamers. This book was written by Kim Crowley, and Kim Crowley has been one of the good professionals out there when it comes to cybersecurity. I've known her, not in person, for quite some time, and I follow her previously on Twitter X before she left the platform for some reasons. And she has been very good. She has been really good with what she does. She's really, really skillful. And she also co-authored the Pentester's Blueprint with Philip Wiley. So I think this time around she stood her ground to have her own book just all by herself. And I can tell you for sure she did a great job in this book. This book is not just a book, but a book that every cybersecurity professional who is passionate about getting into the cloud penetration testing profession or industry should be able to read or lay their hands on first to understand the fundamentals and the basics in terms of the knowledge they need to acquire before venturing into more advanced skills when it comes to penetration testing on cloud infrastructures. So the first point on this book is that I would recommend this book for offensive security experts who are interested in cloud penetration testing, as this book, has a very structured and detailed informations that are very, very important for anyone who is interested in the offensive security aspect of cloud infrastructures to know. And not just knowing, understanding the various concepts, like, for example, understanding platform as a service, software as a service, infrastructure as a service, and the various types of clouds. So with this book, these informations were explained in depth. And of course, when you read about these informations and understand the various types of platforms and of course cloud infrastructures, you can now be able to understand the various services that these various organizations such as AWS, Google, Microsoft, and so on offers in terms of their cloud services, and understand how you can penetrate these various cloud services to discover vulnerabilities or uncover security flaws that exist in these various platforms. The second point is that this book also simplifies everything you need to know about the cloud. So in terms of definitions, you will learn a lot of information about the hybrid cloud, the private cloud, the multi-cloud, and of course the on-premise cloud. So when you talk about multi-cloud, you're talking about an organization combining various cloud services which are provided by different organizations. So let's say, for instance, organization A or Fixie Gateway Security decided to use both Amazon and Google Cloud platforms together in their various service provisioning. We can consider that to be a multi-cloud. So we are not just relying on just a single service provider in purchasing their cloud services. So you understand all those things. And of course, hybrid, a combination of on-premise and of course the public cloud, which is provided by these various organizations. So this book defines those various informations. Then I also want you to understand something about this book is that before you commence reading this book and before you go into depth the various concepts the author is trying to explain, she took her time to list the various tools you need in terms of operating system tools you need, and these tools on what platform they work. So for example, if you are using a particular tool, it tells you, okay, this is not offered in GCP, which is the Google Cloud platform, but it's supported in AWS or it's supported in Microsoft Azure. So these are informations that this author took her time to, list out before going into depth in describing these various cloud informations that you need to know about. So it's like a structure. First of all, the tools that are necessary for the training, you get them ready. Then not just that, you also proceed to now know these various clouds. Then after that, you proceed to learn how these clouds are being set up, how they are migrated, and how you can hack these various clouds using these tools that were described at the beginning or at the initial chapter of the book. The third point is that the cloud penetration testing for red teamers is a fusion of both theoretical knowledge and practical approach to cloud penetration testing. So, it's very important for you to know the fundamentals. This is a common problem that is faced with the profession in terms of cybersecurity. And with the rise of AI right now, a lot of people are just getting into AI and all these informations without even having the basic knowledge. So for example, you might notice out there, a lot of people do not even know the technical terms, like the simple technical terms, which is the basic or the fundamentals. Let's say, for example, a system was hijacked and this system was infected with a malware, right? And this malware, we know it's responsible for encrypting files and locking the user out of the computer. So maybe to have access back to the computer, the user is requested by the hackers, to pay a little bit of ransom. And if you ask this type of question to some cybersecurity professionals, maybe not expert, because experts are well grounded, let's say for juniors or beginners, they might just say the computer has been infected with a virus. But is that a virus actually, or a class of malware infestation? So when you talk about virus is a class of malware infestation. In this case, if we have to describe this malware infestation, we can say it's a ransomware. So ransomware are a form of malware which encrypts users' files and computer. And of course, requesting the user to pay a fee, which is known as ransom, to the group of hackers who are responsible for the development of that malware or responsible for the sinister act, which encrypted the user's computer. So these technical terms in this aspect, we understand it, right? This is the same way the author, took these same technical terms to explain these various cloud services and provisioning in the book. And by such doing, you as someone who is interested in learning about cybersecurity in terms of cloud penetration testing will find yourself, getting yourself familiarized with these technical terms and information. So there are a lot of things about this book. I wouldn't be speaking much about it, so that I don't give you the full details about this book and, of course, making you seem like you've gotten all the necessary information. So I believe the author of this book wrote this book for the sake of that she wants, to put bread on her table. So I wouldn't be going that too deep. You have to try and find a way to buy the book, and it's not that too costly. I think about, with taxes, about close to about $60 plus. So it's not something you should see as a wrong investment. Buying this book is a good investment so far from what I have read from this book. So on the 3 points agenda that makes up the cloud penetration testing for red teamers, an awesome book is that: one, structure in the propagation of information. So as previously described, the author started with theoretical definition of terms, then tools that are required in terms of the tools like Paco and MFA Sweeper and other important tools that the user needs to install or get ready to learn about the cloud penetration testing. I wouldn't be listing all these tools so that you don't go and read about them and start, researching about them instead of buying this book. So I purposely listed only Paco and MFA Sweeper. So there are more interesting tools out there and more interesting tools that this book includes as well. So get the book and read about it. From there, you can build your base or your foundation, launching your career into the cloud penetration testing as an offensive security expert. The second point that makes this book a great book is that the description of the various clouds in scope and out of scope when testing various organizations' cloud infrastructure, and snapshots and image illustration. So, these cloud services are provided by these multinational companies, right? And of course, when they provide these services, they have the rules, what we call their do's and don'ts. So in cybersecurity, we call this the rules of engagement, or what is in scope or what is out of scope. Reading through the book and taking my time to, digest the information, I can tell you for sure is that she actually took her time to do a lot of research to put this piece of information all together in sync, and of course in such a way that's not just in sync, but you that is also the reader will be able to understand these informations. So you'll be able to understand these informations and of course know what you're doing in terms of what you're reading about cloud penetration testing. On the third point that makes this book interesting is the code in action. It is the most interesting part of this book, which of course the code in action is that she provided a YouTube link whereby you can go and see the live hacking using these various cloud instances provided by these different cloud service providers. So it's not just about you reading, but if you're not good at being a reader, you can just scan through part of the books and of course access the YouTube channel, which is her official YouTube channel, to check out these various testing that were conducted in the book and learn how to carry them out. But for me, I would tell you one secret. This secret I would share with you is that please first just get the book and read the book. Don't skip the process. And you might be thinking, why should you, do that? Is that when you're reading these books, definitely you have some misconception. If you're not an ardent reader, for me, the book is straightforward and it's very easy to understand. But if you're not an ardent reader, you can be able to list some important informations in a piece of paper or in your journal. And when you now visit the YouTube channel to check this code in actions while watching, you will now be able to see that most of these points that she listed in the books are also described or explained in these videos. So don't just, access the YouTube channel to see the code in action. Please take your time, read the book first. It's not too voluminous. I think, if I'm not wrong, where's my copy? I think so it's about 298 to 300 pages. The book is not too voluminous. So if you're not a fast reader, you can actually finish the book in a month. So if it's, you read 10 pages in a day, so 10 times 30 days is 300 pages, right? So you can decide to read, okay, I wake up in the morning, I read 3 pages. During lunch hour, I read 3 pages. Before I go to bed, I read 3 pages. Or you can even split it in 5. So 5 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon. Then your evenings, you can, use the time for anything you want to do. But at the end of the day, if you're reading 10 pages per day of this book, in a month, you should be done with the book. So it's not voluminous. I've seen, books that are even over 1,000+ pages. Well, there's a book I read one time. That book was the largest book I've read so far, aside the CCNA 200 and 125 routing and switches book, which of course I have in my library. That book was the most craziest book I've read. But not the CCNA book I'm talking about. This time around, the book, I won't mention the name because it's not in this presentation. Think about 1,750 pages. And the book took me an average of 2 months because I was busy with other things. So inculcate that attitude of reading a lot of books. This is the only way you can learn a lot of things in cybersecurity. If you're going to be watching videos, videos are very good. I'll tell you the truth, but these are filtered informations, informations that have been narrowed down to fit the narrative of being a perfect presentation. But with book, you're getting the raw material, like you're getting the raw resources. Then you can now refine these resources to suit your own demands. So as a cybersecurity professional, it is important you understand the fundamentals of foundational knowledge in any cybersecurity field of subject. And Cloud Penetration Testing for Red Teamers is a book that offers that when it comes to knowledge on cloud penetration testing. So for rating, I would group this rating into two. The first rating is for beginners. So if you're a beginner, you have no knowledge about cloud, you don't know anything about cloud, then I tell you for sure, this book is the best choice for you. Get this book. And for sure, I can guarantee you that if you're honest with yourself, by the time you're done reading this book, you will even be able to message us and tell us that you're grateful for us recommending this book to you. So try and get this book if you're a beginner who is interested in learning about cloud penetration testing or passionate in terms of getting additional information about cloud penetration testing. For professionals, I call these guys the experts when it comes to cloud penetration testing. So let's say they've been in the industry for over about 10 years plus. So they are very familiar with a lot of clouds and how to, look out for vulnerabilities. So for them, this book is just like a revision if they want to understand the definition of terms, like to refresh their memory. So in that case, I'll be giving for the professionals 3.95/5. So the other 1.05 is basically for just the fact that if you're a professional and you're looking for the technical in-depth of cloud penetration testing, then this book is not for you. Okay, I'm not going to be dishonest with that. But for beginners, to be honest, I can even recommend a 5.5, but the volume of the book doesn't meet the criteria that warrants the perfect rating of a 5-star. So 300 pages is okay because cloud penetration testing is not just a walk in the park. It's a very big subject matter, and while 300 pages does not do justice to the profession, but this 300 pages is a perfect summary of everything you need to know. So you should get it if you're a beginner who wants to learn about cloud, and if you're a professional who wants to just refresh their memory and of course understand Kim's mindset in terms of how she pen tests cloud infrastructures, then I recommend this book for you. So with that, we have come to an end with the presentation of the book review series for this week. If you find this video interesting, please do not hesitate to give us a like by hitting that thumbs up button, subscribe by hitting that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to get notified when next we post our videos on book review series. Thanks for watching and see you on the next episode. Bye for now.